Hello, today I would like to discuss about Google Social Login with Keycloak. The fact that you are watching this video means that you are at least familiar with what Keycloak is. Keycloak is an open source identity and management system. I normally use it to secure my front end as well as my back end services. For this video, we will not discuss Keycloak in detail, but you can always visit their website at keycloak.org. They have a comprehensive documentation under docs, which are always updated. Keycloak is an SSO provider, and if we go to the website alternativito.net, there are several alternatives that are in the list. And I think Okta is one of the popularly used especially for Spring developers. If we click Okta, I think there are other more like Login Radius and O0. Both are popular. What I like about Keycloak is that you can download it, you can run it in Docker, you can install it on your local machine, and you can install it in Amazon for production, and you can scale it on demand depending on your requirements. As for the other providers which are online, for example Okta, they have a free tier. For example, for 1,000 monthly active users, the price is 0, but as the number of your monthly active users increase, the same goes with the price. So if you're just starting out and you have the technical expertise or you have resource to do the Keycloak installation and configuration, I suggest you try it. It might be worthwhile in the long term. We are using it for various projects of ours, and so far it's really good. We can scale it perfectly, and it can handle a lot of users and requests. Now let's start creating our realm that will handle a Google login. So navigate through this blog entry in Blogspot. This is my blog that I created some time ago. The screens are not updated anymore because Google introduced some updates, but the steps are all the same. We can start by creating our Google application. So navigate to console.developers.google.com, and in the top left, hopefully it's still the layout when you try this video. In the top left, there is a list of projects, or if none, I think it should be empty, and then you can click it and then click the new project. You should be able to create a new project from here. Let's name this project Google Keycloak, or let's say SSO test. Organization, I don't think I have set up an organization, so let's leave it to no organization for now and create our project. Once the project is created, we need to set the OAuth consent screen, which is this one. If you look at the screen, let's go to the SSO project first. After creation, we need to select it again from the top left, and go to the OAuth consent screen, and let's start creating our application. Google OAuth. The authorized domains, we will fill it up later because right now we don't have a domain. And hit save. From the product, I think there's no description yet. Is there a problem? There's no authorized domain yet. We can authorize our domain here, but we don't have an authorized domain. Application. Maybe we need to add something here. Google.com for now, and hit save with the product name. Maybe we need to create a new project with a logical name. So let's say inventory project. Maybe that makes sense. And again, select it. Inventory project. It's still being created. Select the inventory project. And again, going back to the old consent screen, this is our inventory project. We don't have a domain yet. And hit save. And there we have it. Oh, that's weird. SSO test is not accepted. Now we have a project. Then we need to create a credential. These credentials are the values that we will use later when we connect to this SSO provider. So click create credentials and select OO client ID and select web application under the application type. Let's say this is our inventory project, inventory client, and authorize JavaScript origins. Later on we will try to fill it up, but for now we can save, and this is the client ID and the client secret, which we will use later, so we can copy it now for later use. Alright, now that our project and client are ready, it's now time to run the Keycloak server and configure it. I'll be running Keycloak using Docker, which is this one. Docker.com, this is Keycloak, and this is the getting started documentation. I can run Docker from the image, which is, I can just use this command. As you can see, it's Docker run. I provided the Keycloak user and Keycloak password, which is documented here. This will create the default user, the Keycloak user, which has a user admin and password admin, and I'm forwarding the port 8080 and 9990, as well as I'm binding the interface 0.0.0 to all the IP, meaning this, when I run this, Keycloak should be available on other machines on the network, or if you're running on a public internet, it will be available. Once Keycloak is running, you should be able to see that it's listening on IP address 0.0.0. That's 0. Like this one. If we access Keycloak, I've deployed my Keycloak in a network machine. And its IP is that 101.14880/auth. That is where Keycloak is deployed. Here it is. But 192.168.1.101 is a network IP address which we cannot use here. Authorize redirect URIs, especially in the domain, in the OAuth consent screen, we cannot use the network IP. So if we try to input it here, it will not be recognized because this is not a proper domain name. Thus, I'm introducing another tool that I normally use to make my local server available publicly, which is ngrok. What it does, it provides a public IP that forwards the request to your local server. And to do that, we will make the port 8080 available publicly. Let's try that. I'm logged in to that network machine where I'm running Keycloak. So I need to run ngrok TCP 8080, I think. Get started. To run ngrok, oops, we need to go to their documentation and see how it is run. Ngrok HTTP port 8080 because Keycloak is running on port 8080. If we run that, we should be able to get a public IP, which is this one, which is what we will use in our authorized domains. Let's remove the HTTP protocol. Now it should be accepted by OAuth consent screen from Google, and we should be able to save this. After configuring the OAuth screen, we now need to configure our client in the credentials menu. So click on our client, and in the authorized redirect URIs, Keycloak is following a certain URL, which is in this format: OAuth, realms, social OAuth, broker, Google endpoint. Social OAuth will be the realm that we will create later in Keycloak. So let's try this redirect URIs and save. Now our Google API project is ready. We need to configure Keycloak now. Admin. I think I still have. Okay, so let's start creating the what did we give that name again? It's why was it not saved? Yep, save. Okay, social OAuth. Let's name it Google SSO maybe. This realm. And then we need to create a client. And we need to name that client social OAuth. And the client protocol is OpenID-connect, which is the default. Hit save. And in the screen, we just need to change the access type from public to confidential, which will ask us to log in when we click a secured page. And then we need to fill up the valid redirect URIs. For now, let's set to asterisk, meaning it's anything, and the web origins anything. But for security purposes, you need to provide real domain entry here or IP address. This is web origins is the origin of the request. Normally, it's your front-end client, and valid redirect URIs is where Google will redirect after you log in. Then hit save. And go to the installation tab. Hit the select a format and select the Keycloak OIDC JSON. This is the configuration that we will use in our front-end application. Let's just save it for now. And again, let's follow this procedure. So we need to create an identity provider. in Keycloak. Oh, and by the way, did you notice something? This configuration is using a network IP. Therefore, we need to replace that with the URL that we got from ngrok, which is this one, IOOT, and everything should be fine. And going back to Keycloak, we need to add our Google Identity Provider. Under the Google SSO realm, hit Identity Providers, and you should arrive in this screen, Add Provider or Identity Providers, and in the Add Provider drop down, select Google. As you can see, there are other social SSO providers available like GitHub, Facebook. You can try them after this exercise. What is needed for the Google Identity Provider are the values we saved earlier, which are the client ID and secret. The client ID, I think we saved it earlier here, right? This is the client ID. Copy and paste, and this is the client secret. Paste. The rest of the parameters will work as default, but they are properly documented. When you hover on the question mark, you should be able to have an idea what each of the parameter does. So let's hit save. And now we have an identity provider. When we go back to the clients menu and hit the social auth, this one base URL is not configured. Confidential. There should be a login here anyway. If we click this account menu, you should be able to. Oh, why is there none? Anyway, we will check that later. Now, going through the client, I already created a project which I used in other videos, and this is the Keycloak auth available on my GitHub account, github.com Czetsuya Keycloak auth. So maybe this is that project. Yes, so this project is secured by Keycloak. It's very simple. I think I just created several pages, one that is not secured, public, and some other that is secured by a login user, and another by a role or group. And you can check this project out. This is available publicly, which is what I've done here. This is that project, and remember, we have saved our Keycloak configuration earlier from the clients, from the Keycloak clients under the installation tab, and select a format, Keycloak OIDC.json, which is this one, and we replace the network ID by the public URL provided by ngrok. And now we have this final configuration. Let's copy this one and paste it on the keycloak.json file under the source assets folder. Okay, let's paste that one. And now we have a Keycloak, or now we have a front-end project that is secured by Keycloak. And we have a realm under the Keycloak, which has Google as the identity provider, and we have configured our Google client in the Google developers. So I think we have configured everything correctly. We have our domains listed here, which we are using in the credential. I think we already provided the redirect URIs, and in this text box we need to input the origin of the request, which is localhost 4200, because Angular is running on 4200. Let's try to run our Angular application, as it seems like everything is configured correctly. Run. Oh, by the way, this Eclipse, I've installed a plugin which is CodeMix. It really makes programming React and Angular easier. Though it's not free, it makes the development easier. So I suggest you try it. They have a free version for 45 days, which makes IntelliSense as well as code formatting very, as you can see, it's formatted and it's very easy to read. Now let's run this project. Run as Angular web application. I think these menus are also provided by that CodeMix plugin. Run it. It's running on my other tab, which is this one. Sometimes running this application takes some time because it needed to download all the dependencies, especially when you first clone the repository, and sometimes Angular do some updates on its own dependencies. But here I already ran it earlier, that's why it ran faster. And that's the same for Keycloak. The first time you install it or the first time you run it, oh, there's some error, I don't know. The first time you run this, it will take some time because it will download the Keycloak image from Docker Hub to your local computer. And I don't know, I think Keycloak is very bulky. Docker images, here we have the Keycloak, which is, it's around 1.21 gigabytes. If you have a slow internet, that will really take some time. Alright, I think it's compiled and successfully running now. But there should be a pop-up application. Anyway, we could access the Angular application by typing localhost port 4200 in the URL. I think the Angular application is running. Now we can test if this application is properly secured by Keycloak, which is using the Google Identity Provider. Let's start by clicking the first link, secured page in same module. It should redirect to Keycloak plugin, which is what it does. So far everything looks okay. Here we have the Google Identity Provider. If you add, you can have multiple identity providers. So you can add GitHub, Twitter, and the more you add, they will be listed here. For this one, let's try Google. I have an invalid request. I think there's something wrong with it's the realm. It's the Google SSO realm. Need to change that. How did I make that mistake? Let's just rename our realm Google _SSO. Okay. And let's update. I think it's okay now. No. I think we need to get the new Keycloak. This is the Keycloak configuration file. We just added the underscore in the Google SSO value. Let's just change it and hit save. It should automatically compile and redeploy, and we should be able to access. Again, localhost 4200. Hit the first menu item. Login using Google. Still wrong. Doesn't match the ones authorized for OAuth client. To update the authorize. Anyway, we can just copy this one. I see. It's Google SSO. Oh, sorry. Social oath. Yeah, this is a wrong value. I was thinking that is a client, but yeah, it's realm. So the realm is Google SSO, which match our realm that we created in Keycloak. Hit save, and yeah, maybe just try to refresh. Oh, I think it worked. We are redirected to the Google account selection screen, and let's select my account. So these values that I created earlier, I will delete it, so you cannot use it. That's why you need to create your own project. Yeah, I think you can easily open a new account in the under the Google Developers Program. Now we're login. That's because there's a logout button here. Again, if we click this secured page, we should be able to access it, because all it requires is for you to be authenticated. It doesn't have any authorization like this one. This one is secured by role. That's why if we access this, it's forbidden, because our user, the user that I use is Czetsuya, right? Yep, it should appear in here, and by default, I did not assign any role when you create the user. So that's why this menu is not accessible and it's failing. And the same with this one for group, because you can assign a role as well as groups to your user. I normally use roles, but sometimes you can use groups. In groups, you can also assign a number of roles, but you can do that with role. A role can be aggregated. I'm not really sure what's the difference between these two. Maybe just group is for department, so more on business separation. But anyway, going back with this Angular application, there's also a call API, which obviously will not work because we don't have a backend API. We have this error, unknown URL, and finally we can log out because of the redirect URI. So this Angular application that I created for Keycloak demonstration, it has its own. Well, I created another project for API testing. So if you want to look at it, it's available under my, I think it's under my YouTube account. This Keycloak authentication and authorization playlist. Just look for my channel, Czetsuya Tech, and I think there are 4 videos. This one is front-end Angular application, which is calling a backend API service created by Java EE. This one is a React front-end application, which is calling an API created in Spring. Oh, and by the way, before I forgot, we need to delete or remove the project that we have created in Google Console. Remember, we have created the inventory project earlier, but I already deleted that one. So first is you have to select the project that you want to delete. In this case, this is the SSO test project, and in the top right, the three dots, click it and select or click the project settings, and from there you should be able to shut down the project. You just need to copy this project ID and paste it in this text box and hit shutdown. It's not an immediate shutdown, it will take a while, but if it's not doing anything like this one, it should shut down, I think, in less than 5 minutes. Here, so we still, this inventory project, I already shut it down, so it should be deleted. It should be removed from this list later on. And that's it. Yeah, I think we're done for this tutorial. I hope you learned something, and this new knowledge, I hope you can apply it or you can use it in your new projects. If you learn something, I hope, or yeah, you can subscribe to my channel and get updated when I update more videos, possibly similar to this one or maybe on another topic. But most of the videos I upload in this channel are programming related. So if you're into programming and maybe you want to learn some new things, stay tuned, and maybe I might update a new videos that might be useful to you. Again, thank you for watching, and yeah, have a nice day. Bye.